Hello, I'm Ijela Ochi. Welcome to this edition of Eagle News GSN 99. In today's news, a longtime Georgia senator announces he's leaving the Senate. The head of the Student Health Clinic talks about safety for students. And there's a new intramural sport, only it's not at the rack. But first, as part of the Martin Luther King Jr. Week celebration, award-winning reporter and CNN news anchor Soledad O'Brien gave this year's MLK speech to the Statesboro community at the Hanner Fieldhouse.
Miss Soledad O'Brien was a Martin Luther King Jr. Day speaker at Georgia Southern University. Media reporters got a chance to ask her questions during the press conference.
Hello, how are you? I'm well, thank you. I'm Katia Owens with Georgia Southern News Channel 99. We are the CNN affiliate here in Statesboro. My first question to you, Ms. O'Brien, is when it comes to being successful in this field, what is your philosophy?
I think to be successful in journalism in general, whether you're talking about print or broadcast, it's really about staying power. It's about doing good work consistently over time, figuring out where your mistakes are, fixing those mistakes, and coming back to fight another day. I think it's in some ways sort of simple in that regard. It's very easy to give up at times. It's very easy to feel overwhelmed and in over your head at times. And I think the toughest thing to do is to say, you know, that's the easy answer. It's much harder to sit down and figure out what you've done wrong, to go back at it and work hard. And so the advice I give every student, and I meet students all the time, is just stick it out. Don't really listen to people around you. You'll have a Greek chorus of people telling you all the things that you cannot do. And if you have decided and put your head to decide what you think you want to do, what you can do, then the onus is on you to figure it out and go do it.
Do you feel like there is more pressure for reporters to be the first ones to get their news articles out there? Because I feel like with Twitter and everything, and people having a lot of access to it, they're starting to believe a lot of things that they see on Twitter without any information backing it. So do you see there's a little bit more pressure?
There's always been tremendous pressure to be first. You know, way pre-Twitter. Pressure to be first was intense. I think what you see now by the people who do it the right way is they put out a teaser. Like if I'm doing a documentary, if I'm working on a story, if I have a nugget, then you can use that in a bit of a tease to say, here's a little bit. Coming up, we're going to have my full article will follow, da-da-da-da. So people absolutely are trying to fulfill a lot of demands over a lot of different media requirements.
In making the Black in America documentary, what was the ultimate goal?
Black in America began in 2008 when it was the 40th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King. So Black in America was only a look at where are we now, 40 years after the death of Dr. King. And because it was so successful, it has continued every year to not only live on, but also it has spun off gay in America. We did a look at Muslims in America. We've done a look at women. We've done workers in America, looking at coal miners, and of course more Black in America and Latino in America too, because we've had tremendous success. We never went in with an agenda of, well, what you're supposed to get out of this documentary series is this. We went in to tell stories about a population, whether it was Latinos, African Americans, gay, Muslim, a population that doesn't get a lot of coverage. So we really just wanted to tell a story about a community.
Miss O'Brien had a lot of inspiring things to say during her press conference and speech. This is Jatia Owens reporting for GSN.
A week after the historic inauguration that happened to fall on Martin Luther King Day, CNN news anchor Soledad O'Brien spoke with Georgia Southern University's campus in celebration of the life of the late civil rights leader. Outside of Hanner Fieldhouse, we were able to discuss with some of the attendants what were some of the things they were looking forward to hearing.
I just want to hear what she has to say. She's a remarkable young lady, brilliant, and I think is very fair in her comments about things, and very introspective, and just a well-spoken young lady, and I like her specials too.
And I want to hear her talk about her position on race and all the things she talks about a lot on, when she does her specials.
Soledad's speech touched many in the audience and left them with a few take-home notes.
It helped me remember that my racial background isn't anything to hold me back, but just to inspire me and push me forward.
Minority is minority any way you look at it, and it doesn't matter if it's an African American person, a Hispanic person, a woman, a gay person. Everybody's opinion should be respected and valued.
When she talked about her parents, I'm with a black guy, and so being in an interracial relationship is really difficult because people still today judge and they give you such a hard time.
She really hit all the points that I thought she was going to hit. She did a fantastic job.
Listening to Soledad O'Brien is always very enlightening. She's a brilliant young lady, and I learned a lot about her life and what gives her the perspective that she has on a lot of the issues that she's covered.
She touched home when she said that you have to stand for it. You have to do it anyways, even if the world hasn't caught up yet. That really hit home.
This is Jocelyn Dennis for Channel 99.
The next major speakers on campus will be former President Jimmy Carter and Mrs. Rosalind Carter when they are in Statesboro, February the 12th. A total of 7 contestants competed this past weekend in the Miss Georgia Southern University Scholarship Pageant. Bree Haggard has more on this story. So here today with us we have GSN reporters Reedy Hawkins and Jatia Owens. So Jatia, tell me, what was something significant that Miss Soledad O'Brien, that she talked about? What was significant about her speech?
Well, she talked about her Black in America documentary and how instead of just doing it based on African Americans, they expanded it, talking about gays in America, Latinos in America, and Muslims in America. And I just thought that it was kind of cool that they took it, further than what they originally had started to do. And I like that.
Awesome. And Ms. Hawkins, tell me also what was something significant that Mr. and Ms. Carter spoke about during their speech?
Well, in the actual speech to the students, President Carter and Rosalind Carter focused mainly on, their life together and what led them to the White House and kind of how their experience had been with that. But then in the press conference, we got to expand a lot and talk about more specific things. And my questions for him focused on, of course, because he was here to speak as part of Georgia Southern's leadership series, what is your philosophy on leadership? What has shaped, you in your life to get you to the point that you are now, to enable you to have accomplished all the things that you've done? So that was so neat to get to hear him talk about all of those things.
Sounds interesting. So how was it like interviewing Mrs. O'Brien?
Surreal. I look up to her as a reporter, and I really enjoyed being able to get the opportunity to ask her questions during the press conference. She's really nice. She's kind of cool. I just love her. It was really fun getting to interview her and actually getting to hear her speak to the students and the rest of the Statesboro community.
And what was it like interviewing Mr. and Mrs. Carter?
It was absolutely incredible. It was just such a blessing to even have that opportunity. I mean, most Americans and most people for that matter go through, their whole life without ever even being in the same room or even near a president or former president. So for me as a student to have had the opportunity to not only meet a former president, but to actually participate in a press conference and interview him, that was, just something that I'm so fortunate to have gotten to do. And I actually made a joke afterwards. He approached me after the press conference and shook my hand and said he asked some good questions, and I joked with my friends after. I said, just think of all the hands that man has shook, and then now I'm a member of that club, so that was really cool.
Wow, lucky, very lucky.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. And also, what makes these individuals so unique and so different? What establishes as being who they are?
I think it's unique because, I think Ms. O'Brien is unique because, first off, she's a female, and she's one of the most respected reporters and journalists in America today. I think she's, I look up to her as a journalist, and I watch, her show a lot. She just really, I don't know, I just like her a lot, Yeah, she's pretty unique.
She is really unique.
Yeah.
And what makes Mr. Carter and Mr. Rosalind so unique from, other people that have graced GSU campus?
One thing that's unique about the pair having come to speak together is it's the first time Georgia Southern has welcomed a former president and the First Lady to our campus. We've had former presidents come speak before, but not also with his wife, so that was really cool. And that kind of made it an interesting dynamic to meet not only him, but also Rosalind. And then other than that, of course, he's our only president from Georgia, so that was, obviously something that makes him unique.
Well, thank you all, ladies, for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your experiences.
Thank you for having us.
Well, awesome. And when we come back, we'll tell you why 23 new Eagles are ready to fly. Georgia Southern University's head coach Jeff Monken announced 23 new players after National Signing Day. One is a power kicker from New Jersey. This is the biggest recruiting class from Georgia Southern that they have experienced in a while. Jocelyn Dennis has more. Today I welcome producer and host of Off the Record with Robin Reedy, Robert Todd. Welcome, Robert, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us more about Relay for Life?
Well, it's the first ever time Georgia Southern University is holding a Relay for Life event. And you know, very historical time. And it was one of those that Robin and Brittany talked to me and Reedy. And a group of them came together from the American Cancer Society here in Bullitt County and discussed the thing about having a college event here. You know, different colleges in Georgia have their own collegiate Relay for Life. And their thing was, why shouldn't Georgia Southern? Their goal is $30,000. Now, as of today, they have raised over $20,000. So within a few more days, they still have time to raise that $10,000. They also had a goal of having 30 teams participate, and they have 40 right now. So it's actually looking good.
Well, that's great. So what other things can we expect this Friday?
Well, they talked about having a couple DJs out there. They're at Eric Russell Park. Now, for anybody who doesn't know where that is, that's outside of Paulson Stadium, right in front of the brand new statue, basically the tailgating area. You would think it's a college event, but it's a community event. So they're going to have a lot of people from the blue and white game that are already coming in to tailgate. They're going to have those people come in and join in with the fun. GSN Channel 99 is a sponsor of the event as well, and me and Reedy will be out there with Off the Record. We are shooting Off the Record out there at Relay for Life.
Thanks for staying tuned to GSN Channel 99 Eagle News. I'm Ijela Ochi. Last Thursday, the Georgia Southern University Communication Arts Banquet was held, honoring students and alumni. Bree Haggard has more on the annual event.